What do you think of that? Looking good, huh? Been a minute since we was working on Ben's V8 Transit from Sleaford Recovery. He's took his Transit away and I think he's quite happy with it. We did quite a lot of work on that. All new suspension mounts and a new engine mount across the front. Ben seems really pleased with it though. But now it's onwards and upwards and back on to work with the GMC. Well, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a catch up for those of you who haven't been following the channel for that long. I bought this GMC over in Canada. I had a friend of mine go and collect it and store it for a while. Pretty rough condition. It's been like someone's lost project, several people's lost project probably, and have all kinds of plans for it. They've changed as the time's gone on. She saw a couple of winters over in Canada. The thing is, they don't have salt on the roads so much there, so the corrosion isn't too bad. My friend went ahead and got this white truck, which got a 350 cubic inch small block Chevy in it. I think it's like a 80 to 85 unit. He was kind enough to take out the engine which was temporarily installed in the GMC. It wasn't even, I think it was a Chrysler engine. And then he rested the small block Chevy and a TH400 automatic transmission in there for me. Pretty happy that he did that for me. Saved me a lot of time on shipping and so forth. And then off to England it was. I went down to Southampton and collected it. Hired a trailer and a Toyota Hilux to do that with. It worked out quite well, to be fair. That was back in 2021. And spent quite a lot of time working on it, like intermittently, maybe once a week, once every fortnight. On the previous video, on the GMC, we got the engine all cleaned up, painted up and installed. So let's get into this video. This is everything I've done since the last episode on the GMC. Well, I've got my steering box out, need to clean it up before I start working on it. I've also got my kit of parts from, where is it from? From Jim Carter. So it comes with some really good instructions, some gaskets and so forth. But step one, clean all this stuff up. This is that degreaser. So where I'm at with this is I'm not going to go ahead and replace all the bearings in there because these ones are fine. Judging by the witness marks on the screws, I'd say someone's been in here before. Replace that bush in there, which engages there. And I consider all these other bearings to be fine. I've given everything a really good clean. And it's time for reassembly. I consulted the hive mind and people said corn head grease is the way to go. I thought they was making it up, but evidently it's a thing and I was able to buy it from a local store, John Deere store. So I'm happy about that. It's about £5 a tube. I got 4. Don't know how many I'm going to use. I'm going to pack it in there, mainly because the pitman arm seal, which doesn't come in the kit, that's going to just leak any kind of oil you put in there. So corn head grease evidently liquefies when agitated, so where it's not moving, it's just going to be stiff, and where it is moving, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pack all this with grease, pack my bearings, and then it's going to be the pre-tensioned in procedure. Have you ever seen Ghostbusters?
Yes, like a ghost.
This is what happened to Slimer. Oh boy. That's just nasty. There's some very specific instructions on how to remove the lash. There's a special tool which I guess is just a weight scale, just a force scale, 1 to 1.5 pounds on the edge of the steering wheel, and I used one of my luggage scales, and I've got somewhere about a pound. It's actually quite a lot of drag on the steering when you turn that. But we had a lot of play in the pitman arm previously, So I think probably a lot of that could have been taken up with the adjustment. But taking it all apart and cleaning all the old grease out and putting new in, God, this stuff is a treat. Jesus wept. I haven't filled it up completely. I shoved, that whole tube has gone in there like so, but it's kind of, it finds its own, it's quite viscous. It's a bit like a non-Newtonian fluid, but it's not that. It feels fairly solid, but it'll just self-settle into the bottom. So what I'm going to do, someone on Facebook suggested that I get a food bag and cut a corner off and use it like an icing pipe. So I shall do that, and then I think I'm going to clean it down and give it a dust over with a bit of paint. I'm only going to install the steering box mounting bolts at the minute. I'm not going to install the ones at the top under the dash because I've got a bit to do under there yet. But it's time to get this installed for the last time. So it's all bolted in. I did add a hole there. I always intended to do that, to get an Allen key in the end. And I modified the Allen key so that I can get a socket on it to tighten it up. A little bit more of a fight than I was expecting, but it's all in place. No scratches on it at all. So this was a bit of a learning experience for me. The piece which is welded onto the frame, I wasn't really sure exactly how far it had to be, so I had a piece laser cut and folded, but I had it laser cut and folded parallel, but then of course it would have shifted the steering column along rather than being at an angle. When I was doing my research on all this stuff, no one actually mentioned that. I think a lot of people just do a rough piece of box section and really don't think about it as much as I did. They just go ahead and do it. But if you want that piece of steel cut, it'll cost you about 30 quid plus shipping. I'll do that for you, and you can adjust it yourself. Another step done. So it's not exactly top end bodywork, but we're not looking to get a perfectly flat red panel. We want a patina. So where we've got some bare metal, I'm going to use some etch primer, a couple of different places. But where we've got like the blue in there, or grey in, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to come back to that. So and there'll probably be a lot more work to do once it's on the truck, but I want to give these a good going over. When the truck was over and faking them at the other place, I did make a start on bashing out some of the dents and what have you. This is where there was a dent, like a pipe had hit it and I hammered it out. Don't know if you can see it or not. Oh, there you can. So there's some pinholes in there. That's going to be no good when the red goes on. So what I am going to be doing is, where there's exposed metal, I'm going to give that a little bit of an etch prime, then a bit of a filler prime on there. So right there was a bullet hole or something. Bullet went in sideways or whatever. I'm going to keep that one there just because I like it. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm going to get some etch primer on here. This is it. Going to put some red on. Well, here it is. Got red on. What do you think? Huh? Huh? There's certain areas where I've laid off of it. And I took plenty of video and pictures beforehand because obviously I want, like on here for instance, around that area there, didn't get a lot of paint on there and similar here. I'll buff that with that machine there. I'll polish that down so you get the original colour come through and you get that wear mark come through. But it's nice to get some paint on. Red goes on in quite a satisfying way. and need to get the core support, radiator support installed, so it needs paint. That's happening next. So I've installed these rubbers on both sides, little staples. I've had this inner wing off a couple of times. I've enlarged these holes because they needed to be. Really getting there. Feels like I bought so much of this stuff years ago, you forget you have it. But I've installed this rubbery foam business on here to protect the inner wing from getting scratched, from scratching the outer wing. I forgot to do it on that side, so the half an hour I spent bolting that on was a complete waste of time. I need to take that fender off and do it again. So it's essentially, these were stapled on from the factory, like wire staples. There must be some hardcore staplers what staple through that steel. But what I'm doing is I'm using a small drill bit and drilling myself some new holes, and then using the pliers just to close up the staples. That's how that's done. There's also a gasket to go along there, which comes in the kit. Gaskets went between here and the firewall too. It's a time-consuming task getting all this to line up. But that hole is supposed to be over there. I believe the grille or the grille surround goes onto there. Yeah, there's lots of matching up to do. Alright, it's time to address the mustache, the grille surround. I need to take the GMC logo off, give it a quick Scotch-Brite, and then dust some red over it. I think that's what I'm going to do with this. Well, it's the morning after, and there are some drips, but a little bit of sagginess. That's all going to be under the badge. Nice sort of orange peely effect on it. I'm really doing well with this fake patina stuff. It's really difficult to paint as crap as this, honestly. You know, anyone can paint well, but to paint really badly to match patina, not everyone can do that. Right, so we'll move on from that onto the hood. Some quite nasty dents on the hood and scratches and whatnot, and I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with it. It's going to be the same kind of deal as I've done with the doors and the cab and everything else. I think I'm just going to hit it with a hammer a little bit, hammer and dolly, pull some of these dents out, which look the worst, and then give it a bit of paint. It's like it's had something set on the hood and it's dented it. But as lazy as the people were with masking up, like a door shut paint job, they still took the badges off when they painted it. Badge is missing off this side, the 9430 badge. So I'm thinking of 3D printing something and casting something to replace it with. Take that home and scan it. I did draw it from a picture, but I want it to be accurate. Might make some key rings of that as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. Alright then, this is as far as I'm going with the hood. All cleaned down. Needs another pass with some cleaner and a clean rag. And then I'm going to give it some red. The whole lot of this is going to get coated in red. And then we'll see about rubbing it down. Give it some patina. You're still going to see the dents in it. Dent there, dent there. This whole group of dents there. It's like something was set down across it. But hey, I don't want to add a load of filler to it. It's always going to look wavy and crap. And I'm not a bodywork guy. So if in the future we want to make the truck look perfect, we can pay someone to do it. Installing front panels is very time consuming. So now I've got these two panels. I had a pattern part I bought off someone. Wasn't happy with it. So this is an original piece. And someone prepped and apparently it had a damaged corner, but seems fine to me. I always want to get original panels if I can. This is top panel. It needs a little rub down, and I'm going to see about giving these two things a coat of paint. Had a little bit of time over lunchtime, so I decided to install these front panels. Painted this one yesterday. A little bit of bashing into place. I expected it to get a little bit scratched when going in, so that's fine. And I've screwed all of this front mustache grille surrounding. That's feeling good. I'm going precautionary to stop scratching the fenders when I put the hood on. I am just waiting to install the weather stripping which goes across there. I've got that, brand new. I was hoping to be able to find the original metal covers, but I can't find them. That was all, there's a tiny piece of that left. Feeling pretty happy about how it's looking. And there it is installed. Had a bit of a mishap when I opened the bag to these. One of them flew off somewhere, had to look for it. Found it. Yeah, they're all in. I wasn't sure if you're supposed to glue it as well. I didn't. Just stretched it a little bit, so I drilled the hole a bit further up and pulled it tight. Felt like a good way of doing it. Really starting to come together, people. Right, now lift the back end up. First time I've seen this truck with headlights on. I put the original bezel on, just rested on there, because new ones are shit. Don't buy new stuff, always get original. Well, Sarah's on the Sarah. Looking good, huh? Well, this is the most complete this truck has looked for a little while. Got the doors on. Looks so cool. So I kind of rushed getting all the sheet metal on the front. Wanted to get the headlights in place, get it looking good, temporary like. I'm really pleased.